Thank you, everybody. We're here in not the garden today. The weather here in Bali is a bit raining, so we're in the special private side room here at Tropical Nomad for episode number 491 with a brother from a different mother, same father, brother Daddy Tian. Been on the show before. Round of applause again because we can. Woo! So tonight is about Peduli Learning Center. Now, as you know, Daddy's been on the show before. And, you know, tonight, obviously, there's a 2.0 version coming, which we're going to talk about. But, you know, just talking off camera before tonight, earlier on, you know, I think the main thing we want to really get across tonight is about care for people, care for one another. So as you're listening to tonight's show, just listen for that, you know, this genuine, insightful, authentic connection to caring for others, right? So just keep that in your mind while I announce what's going to happen tonight. So as I mentioned, the purpose of this episode is Peduli Learning Center is a pioneer or even pioneering the Global Freedom Initiative, which builds sovereign education that turns learners into creators. Bali's Peduli Learning Center serves 250 plus students aged between 4 and 17. It's a new model of liberation in action rooted in English, entrepreneurship, emotional intelligence, and social skills. This episode is a call to the co-creators. The Peduli Learning Center 2.0 is inviting strategic partners, funding donors, mentors, and collaborators who want to help build and benefit from building a sovereign education prototype in Bali with a global reach. So our brother Daddy Tian is a founder of Peduli Learning Center, an entrepreneur, a speaker, an author. We've got a few of his books here, as you can see. So 3 books here, but one of these books we've called Empower Yourself and Leaders, Leadership Coach, Property Developer, and Social Impact Visionary. So the 3 takeaways from tonight, I'm sure there'll be many others, is from obedience to agency. So Peduli 2.0 isn't about improving school, it's about replacing it. Students are trained as sovereign creators through 4 pillars: English, entrepreneurship, emotional intelligence, and social skills. And success isn't measured by test outcomes or test scores, but by the voice. First income, conflict mastery, public speaking, and service. So from a backyard tarp to a living temple of learning. That's interesting. Backyard tarp to a living temple of learning. I like that. Beyond charity, co-creation. Donors don't just give. They become founders. The 88,000 euro founding round builds a 12 to 18 month runway, while regenerative flywheel sustains impact, and student ventures 70-30 reinvestment retreats as well. I didn't know about retreats. This is good. Licensing and sponsorship subscriptions with radical transparency, joint Indonesian entity, multi-sig finance, quarterly reporting. Every euro becomes measurable transformation. And the final takeaway is about this Bali prototype, this global footprint or even blueprint, locally led, globally resourced. Peduli Indonesia, GFI, as you mentioned, this Global Freedom Initiative, is the first domino of Peduli 2.0. We're talking about an Indian, I'm going to hear about this India flagship, GPS land, licensing, AI personalized learning. This is an invitation, to mentor a teen venture, sponsor a cohort, or host a salon, and help to architect a whole new system. Now there's some takeaways. One more round of applause for those takeaways. We're going to go deeper. But look, the first thing which interests me, is where we started, which is about care. Because, we've kind of mentioned in this kind of hyper-connected world of technology, of AI, of phones, of screens, you mentioned a story before that you may or may not want to comment on, where a death in someone's very close to you, you kind of realized, that despite all of these things around us, what it really comes down to is how much we care for one another. And again, mental health is a huge challenge that we're facing now. It seems like the more advanced we become from the point of view of technology and so on, perhaps the more distant we become from each other in some ways. And then that gap is mental health, or the lack of. So maybe the first question for you is, talking about care and talking about mental health, and what comes up for you and why is that so important now?
Thank you so much, Brother Robert, for that question. So my brother, the one that really close to me, 7 months ago, ended his life. And here I was into the positive energy, into this whole thing of creating, making impact, and my own blood brother ended his life. So that just hit me so hard to really look into this whole thing of Peduli, of care. When he reached out, the first asked for money, I was like, okay, here. The second, okay, here. The third, I ignored him. The fourth, same thing. But then I didn't know that the mental health thing is something that's just really, I was oblivious to it. And then when he reached out to my big brother was just giving him all this thing that really made him like just lost in his own world. And then he did. It was tragic. And that's what it hit me really hard in terms of the whole concept of Peduli. Like when it comes to Peduli, even with my team, I looked at one of our team, the teachers. She went back to Medan. Her mom has got cancer. And then she asked us, because she just worked for like 2 weeks. And then she reached out and she said, oh, it's time for me to get my salary. Should I just... because she's also the finance. So she said, should I just pay myself 2 weeks? I'm like, no. Pay you full. And then also next month, we're going to find ways on how to get all this. That's care. This morning, just a person, I was walking with my wife, the dog, and then this person was like, this elderly came out to me and then just suddenly asked for a job. And then I looked at him and I was like, sure. For sure. Like, and then I took him, and fortunately we were looking for someone that can do the job, like cleaning Peduli and all that. So like, go for it. That's basically Peduli. So Peduli is not a concept or just an idea or just a AI kind of like idea here. What I've realized is that Peduli is an action thing. It's like constant. It's moving every day. I thought like I get it right until my wife gave me feedback. I said that she was like, babe, when you're sick, I was there, presence, give you anything you want. And when I'm sick, you just like blank. And then I was like, it was like big slap on my face. And here I was having Peduli with this kid, and then in my own house. Sometimes you take granted for the things that's always in front of you. And I was like, oh, baby, thank you for the reminder. I'll be mindful next time around. So that happened in my family, bro. Mental health is so primary. Like I had a conversation with my brother George today actually at 1 p.m. and he he shared with me, he used this word, presence of care. That's what it all comes down to. Our ability to give each other our energy, our undivided attention, not just to people, but to the things, to the projects that we're working on, but just being present and the ability to listen to the other persons as well, like with all our being, with our mind, with our souls, with our body. And that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from my brother, also from my wife, from all my team. Sometimes they're just like, Kak Daddy, you gotta practice what you preach. Yes, I will. I'm a ibarat in Indonesia we call it benahi diri, which means every day is a constant, is working on improving oneself. Yeah.
You know, one question which part of me does not want to ask, but it's right there, and I think people are looking at it because you're a very positive guy, as you said before, and we share many things in common. You I look in the mirror sometimes. It just makes me smile. Why did, when your brother asked for the third time for money, why did you turn him down? Now the reason is because we have all been in this situation, right, where maybe someone we feel, and I don't want to lead the question too much, but we have an opinion about it. And then we look back and we say, not I could have done anything differently, but I guess it's also important to kind of realize that life happens in waves and patterns, and things sometimes repeat. So why is it, you know, that stopped you from the third time saying?
Yeah. I was in the mindset of giving a man a fish and he will survive one day. I was like going down that route but then I oblivious to what's really going on. Because he didn't share, like, I don't know, it's a Indonesian thing, or so my brother, we kind of like, something is going on, but we just don't know how to put it in words. And so I thought, like, okay, brother, if I keep giving you just like, next month you'll come back to me. So what if I do this? That was kind of like the mindset that I was in, because I believe also, that's why at Peduli, we don't really ask. We come from the mindset of give. We ask the question, what can we give? And how can we be of service? So the kids at Peduli, if you guys were to go there, you soon realize that, oh wow, they entertain me, they educate me. Why? Because they do speech, storytelling, and when you listen to them, you're like, okay, it's a value, it's something valuable. So I'm kind of like moving away from like this whole thing of donation, asking, no. The marketplace doesn't really care whether you black, white, tall, short, but it cares about one thing, the value that you create in the marketplace. So this is the principle that we teach the kids. So I kind of like want to bring that principle into my brother. I said, brother, create value. Find ways on how to add value to my life so that I can add value to your life. But I did that unconsciously in my head. So I stopped the whole thing. And then he reached out to my big brother. But how my big brother go about it was like, oh, you did this, you did that to mom, so we don't like you because this and that and that. And he was like, okay. And how he did the whole thing was just so tragic, because he drank the thing that you use for the battery in the car, and then went to the hospital, and then he did that in the hospital, and then the whole world, like the whole Atumbo thing, people they know about it. When I went there, I was sold the whole thing, where the ambulance, like so many bikes and cars following it, and that's just on news. My family was being interviewed because it was happening in a big hospital for the first time. So it's created a lot of trauma within me, and right now I'm still in the process of like letting go of that.
Powerful, brother, because a lot of the time, that pain, that trauma is the thing that kicks us on our path.
Yeah.
So when I look at you and I look at, as some of your team said, I don't know where he gets the energy from authentically, right? So it's not this charged up energy that like a balloon, right? And the air goes out of it, but you're consistent, So if there was, and again, the question's phrased in an incorrect way in many ways, but it's also correct in other ways. But if there was kind of one thing that you could take away from that whole experience that you bring to Peduli, version 1 and version 2, what would that be?
Look beyond money and really check in. And the money thing is, you can find ways and figure out. And that actually did something, which is how I handle my team, where Ratna reached out and we were like battling, like, should we pay her this and that, like that lesson that I've learned from my brother. I was like, so look beyond money. What I mean by that is, being human is like what we crave most. For me personally, the sense of belonging, the sense of acceptance, the sense of this unconditional love beyond transaction. And what I've realized is with money thing, and this is the biggest lesson that I've learned from my brother, is that the money things, I should have, if I were to go back, I was like, okay, brother, let's just sit down. Okay, what's going on? That's it. That's all he needs from my brother that he looked up to. It's like, let's sit down. Okay, let's real brother talk. Come on, grab some coffee. Let's just real talk. Let's go. But I didn't. I was in my world, was moving from one thing to another, and for a while I was so hard on myself on that one. I'm still in the healing process of that, of grief and letting go.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. So let's move forward. So what's the difference between Peduli number 1 and then we're talking about Peduli number 2? There's this global initiative that's coming in. So how do you marry those two together? So if someone here asks you today, okay, Daddy, what is it that you need for 2.0, and what's the difference between 1.0 and 2.0? What would you say?
It's almost like, what's the difference between this book and that book? So when I started the whole writing process, I heard these many voices of doubt. Like, Daddy, look at you. Come on. Do you want to write a book in English? And here you are. You've never been to school and learned how to write? We're talking about 2011, 2013, where there's no AI. Nowadays, you can just and your whole book's done. So it's a process. It's a process of overcoming the self-doubt, overcoming the inner critic. For me, there's a cure for self-doubt. There's a cure for the inner critic. And I've realized is the cure for it is action. The inner critic and the doubts it comes not only from you inside out, but other people as well. When you try to write your book and then you want to share it to people, you can hear this inner self-doubt and then critics. Perhaps you can relate to, perhaps you want to start your own business. For me, maybe this is the Peduli 2.0. For you guys, maybe you want to start your own business. You want to try something totally new and different. And then you started to hear these voices come one after another. And so for me, it's about small, insignificant improvement when done consistently over time. The secret is over time leads to stunning results. Peduli is the same. It's a small, everyday action between my team, between the kids, and then attract beautiful people like Ray and brother Ryan from Brotherhood attract. And then it's a natural progression. So it comes down again to the idea of action. Action builds self-confidence. Why I have this confidence that, there's 2.0. Actually, I have 2. In my mental blueprint, I have 500 schools already built. It's just mental blueprinting. Everything, like you guys, if you believe, if the mind believes, you can achieve. That's the whole thing. But it starts with mental blueprint. I am a builder, and I know that when you build a house, first you have to have this thing called plan or blueprint in order for you to build that house. And same with your life. Peduli exists is because there's a mental blueprint from someone. In this case, it happened to be me. But there's another one. So what's the difference? It's just a natural progression, brother. My first book, like the biggest challenge at that moment when I started write, bro, I didn't even know what to write. And the worst part, how to write. And I was like, and then I was like, okay. And then I just put random word. Do you guys on Mac, there's called page? Yeah, I used that, bro. I was like, word, what's it be? And then the worst part is like, once it's all written, I was like, okay, what should I do with this? Christian love. True, man. And then slowly it becomes clear because action. One word, one sentence, one paragraph, one page. And then one chapter, and it becomes a book. And then when you send it to this is the funny thing. When I send it, I use Fiverr and Upwork, right? I hire someone like, suppose the whole idea like native English speaker from America. So I hired him. Dang, I paid $300 USD. Okay, I pay him. And then I was like so confident, bro. Proofread and edit. And then he sent back the whole thing and he was like, do you even write? Like the whole thing, like, because I when I wrote it, I have no idea like where to put comma. How to put the whole full sentence, like the whole actually full like page. There's no separation between this paragraph to that paragraph. He was like 200-300, man, I'm not gonna work. So what he did was just put red, and then asked me to change it. But I was so thankful. I was so thankful that he did that, because then it forced my brain to learn the rules of grammar, the English language. So sometimes feedback, if it's harsh, it's actually a good thing. As long as it doesn't kill you, it's actually a good thing. I was like, thank you.
You know the reason why I said you're a brother, right? And there's certain things that we mirror. So back at school, right, in the UK, London, and for me, when it came to English, I was brilliant. Right, I was fantastic, and I would write these essays and everything else, and then I would come back with like a D-, and Anyone got a D minus before? Be honest. Put your hands up. D minus? Yes. So you girls are lying, man. Unless we have a room of like A students here. So I got like a D minus, right? It showed up as a C plus, but we all knew it was a D minus. And I was like, Mrs. Sweeby, her name. Mrs. Sweeby, I'm like, why? What? I thought we got along, you know? I thought we had something here. You know, like, why are you beating up my paper? And she's like, have you read it? And I'm like, I don't need to read it. I know how good it is. Right? And you're way ahead of me, right? We never spoken about this, by the way. I read it and I was in sheer horror. So he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Respect. I knew what the hell I was doing. But it was horrible. Like I remember, you know, like I remember what I was supposed to write. But it's like someone else came and wrote it. It wasn't me. Right? And it was so bad that honestly C plus D minus was being kind. Right? And then after that I became not an A student, but I became like a B plus or something. Like actually the sheer point of just reading what you write is often enough to take you a couple of steps up. So that's a fascinating story. I've never heard that one before from you.
Yeah,
that's great.
I was hiding from it, like to share it, the whole process of writing, because guys, my background, I came from a village where there's no electricity, so we had you know, TV was not a thing. Like first time I saw TV, I'd look at the man inside the TV and then I was wondering how did the hell that guy get into that TV. Like I literally physically, brother, move over and like behind the TV and I was like, how did that was my experience with the whole technology things. I was born from a family that wanted me to plant corn and then, you know, rice fields and all that stuff. But I've realized it's, go back to the action. It's an action breeds clarity. That's it. And then obviously action also breeds confidence. People are like, how do you get confidence? You just gotta take action. Because an idea in the head without an actual implementation with the body is just an illusion in the head. It stays in the head. Like I came in contact with so many people like, I want to write a book. And then he was like already 40 to 50 years old. And then he was saying the same thing 20 years ago that he wants to write a book. Like if you want to write a book, age doesn't matter. You just have to sit down and then discipline yourself, create space, let that wisdom flow through you. And then what I'm really proud about my books, every time I saw it, I looked at it, this sense of pride and like, there's like strength, because that man, the tenacity, the pain that he goes through, everything to create that. He was not like. So I was so thankful that AI come before AI. So all these books already there, and then AI come. So I don't let AI touch this. This is forever to remind the world before AI. Remind me, remind the world, remind people that there's a creation. There's pain, like the ChatGPT were not there. It's like there's human like that goes through all that pain to try to put the chapters together, sentence together, and the pain of like do the research without the just clicking of a button. There's a world like that. So that's the sense of pride that every time I look at those books, I read that one at the moment in my bed. I was like, just that moment intimacy with yourself. Like literally, I would read, and my wife like, okay, he's reading his book, because just this sense of love and compassion and appreciation towards the guy 10 years ago.
I'm not going to say, I ain't going to say, I know exactly what you mean. Now, one thing I hear reoccurring in what you said, right, is this thing about pain, trauma. right? To break through, to overcome. So my question to you is that, and again, this is Peduli, right? Because, the school it follows the nature of the person running it. Just like a nightclub back in my day would follow the nature of the person who owned or ran the club. That's a personality that would permeate and affect everyone, the staff, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So not a leading question at all, which means it's a very leading question. How do you approach pain? Meaning, do you feel that pain is necessary for people to have growth, or can growth occur without pain?
Wow, that's a good one, brother. Let me tune into that. My life, if I were to go back and observe, it was just move from one pain to another. It's like, it's life. It's inevitable. In relationship, pain in a relationship, pain in just trying to get your business going, pain in just being, like for me, is being a provider for my family, being like, you have to think every day you have to like this pain in all of the things that we do. Now, there's two ways of doing it. One is you either turn that pain into unlock other potential that you have. Like, I didn't know that I have the potential to actually write a book. It was just this desired and then mixed with pains and suffering that I went through. And so we either turn the pain into helping us unlock our full potential, or we use the pain to go down the route of alcohol or try to numb. Like, I am in the process of healing myself, and then also healing the pains and the trauma. And I've realized that as soon as you run away from your pain, it's the only way is through, not go this way or that way or try to mask it with something. But the only way is to go through that pain. Now, the pain for me at the time was like the fact that I didn't go to school and learn how to do the proper, like how to write. So then the pain of like, how do we do this? And so, ask, like, go to the Google and then try to ask people, but it helped me to actually finish the book and then started to publish it and all that. So turn the pain and guide it to help you unlock your potential, and do your best not to go down, because it's easy. It's the easiest way. When there's pain, let's go to the pub. Let me call my buddy. Let's do it. And then we just drink and we smoke and then we're like, that's easy. And then tomorrow when you wake up, oh, still there. But if you like sit, I call it unguided meditation. When I take my brothers to one day retreat, I say, you sit there, you pass that 10 minutes. Once you pass that 10 minutes, because the mind is like this. So when you sit, the mind is like this for the 10 minutes. And then after that, past 10 minutes, it's like this. And then 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then it's still. So how do you clear, like if you were to go to the river and then you like do this to the water on the mud, the only way you get that to clear, crystal clear, is just to leave it. And same with the body. The pain is there. You feel it in your, viscerally, like in the body. And the only way you can, it's true, which is just sit there long enough to be with it, not running away from it. So yeah, the only way is to move through. go through. Sit with yourself long enough. Like there's a quote, right? A man's misery arises from his inability to sit quietly alone in a room.
I love that quote. 2 questions, and then audience, it's your turn. If you have any questions in about 5-10 minutes, raise your hand and the mic will come to you. So, when you're looking at Peduli, so I look at the future, right? And another not leading question, very leading question, right? When we were trying to choose a school for our kids, what I came to after doing 400, 500 of these episodes, right, is how difficult it is for the educative system to keep up with what's really happening in the world today. So in other words, it's, true case, 3 years ago, kids in the US, all over the world, are becoming coders. Coding is a way to go. Blockchain, blah, 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 blah. Go to school, learn, come out, I'm ready for coding. 6 months later, AI comes in. What happens to those guys? They're being recruited to be bye-bye, to be let go of. Some are kept, but a lot are saying, look, sorry, we don't need you because we have this thing here called AI that can do your job 24/7. And it keeps getting better and better and better and better and better. So this is an example of, how school or the educative system generally is out of step or out of pace with what's happening in the world, and it's hard for it to be in step. So when it came for our kids going to school, what became the most important guiding light and guiding principles were values, right? So again, don't want to lead it too much, but I'll give you one. If at school they can learn the ability to communicate with other people, with other kids, to be amongst other kids, and to have that to be kind, to be respectful to other people, regardless of color, race, hair, no hair, age, and so on. If that could be honed or could be embellished or built upon at school because it comes from home first, then that's something valuable for us in choosing a school for our kids to go to. So in other words, we were very values-based as opposed to educative outcome-based on the process of selecting a school for our girls, which at the time were 7 and 9, right? So when I look at Peduli, and if I ask you the question around values, what comes up for you?
The values lies in that word, Peduli, like caring. Because what I believe is that in the garden of life, caring is the soil that nourishes. A stranger, Pamade, was cared about my well-being. He was a total stranger. He was an army. He came because there's a war, and he looked at me and then cared about teaching me how to do exercise, push-ups, how to do pull-ups. And afterwards, he shared a little bit about being an entrepreneur, because he was in the army, but he has his wife doing business in a shop and all that stuff. So he was cared about me, genuinely cared. So the one value is cared. And then with the kids, I say care about the kids, okay, care about what, Kak Daddy? About your future. About your body. About how you show up in the world. About your mom. About your dad. About getting up early in the morning, clean the house, help them. That's care. It's a real thing. So you do, because you care. Human to human. I care about you, brother. We care about each other. We care about these kids. And then on top of that, said 3 Gs. I love alliteration. In fact, all my books is full of alliterations and acronyms. It's just
Daddy is the acronym king. If you didn't know, you soon will.
So 3 Gs. The first one, gratitude. I would ask my team, even my wife, like, get up in the morning and say, baby, what are you grateful for? And she's like, baby, okay. And then she's like, and then with the team as well, I say, what are you grateful for? That's the first one, because abundance comes only to those who already have it. Those that live in abundant state, abundance just keeps flowing. It's just universal law. If I live in a fearful state, no abundance. The God or universe, like, okay, he's in a fearful state, just put him in the queue there. She or he or looking for like someone who's like appreciating things. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful. I am in the grateful energy. Grateful is the ultimate receiving. You receive, because when you're grateful, that means you're thankful for something. And then growth. I embedded this into the kids. I say, find one thing, one skill that you can practice or learn. In this case, their speech, their storytelling, their singing, to improve. What can you do today to improve yourself? Just by 1%, because here's the thing, 1% today, and then 100 days later, it's 100%. You just have to go after the 1%. And then last but not least is about giving. What can I give? Don't go to the marketplace and like, give me money. Here's what I can give. This is the value that I can give to you. And then let them determine. And then so all these kids, like, even we have this talent show coming up on the 14th, right, Tim? The kids perform. They would go up onto the stage. They will give the speech about bravery, about overcome fear, about all this like cool stuff.
Oh, but by the way, Guz, do we have the video? I almost forgot. Yeah, is the video still going?
Yeah, but I asked him to like so that we can focus. But yeah, so it's all about. I asked them to think in terms of what you can give, and then go from that mindset. Yeah. So gratitude, growth, giving, but the care is the foundation.
Love that. So we spent quite a bit of time on what I would call the fundamentals of Peduli, right? Values, the last acronym king, right? So we went through that. So just swing it now. So in the notes here, it's about donors becoming founders. So my last question to you before we go to the audience for questions and then we come back is, what do you mean by that? Donors becoming founders. What do you mean?
Certainly. So the 2.0, the whole idea is that rather than, here's the money and then that's it, but it's like, here's the money and then I am part of it as well. That's kind of what we meant, because this the beauty is that I now work with a global team as well, Ray and then Ryan. They are change makers, but globally. It's just beautiful, like working with them in terms of take the Peduli to the 2.0. So we have our own system. So that's the idea, where you are part of it, being a founder. We will create also beautiful, like on the wall, your name as a founder for the 2.0. A lot of cool stuff that will come up. At the moment, my brother Ray and also brother Ryan, we kind of still working on how would that look like, but it's gonna be good.
Now, just before we go to questions, so we've spoken about Ray, who can't be here tonight.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Ray, because in the Global Alliance, obviously, because Ray brings another. I've met him; he's a beautiful guy, comes with a very strong background, and absolutely I can see you two kind of working well together, like two dynamos, right, powering on. So maybe let people here know, and if he's watching, who is Ray? And what does he bring to the team?
Oh, he's amazing in many ways. I love his strategic thinking. Like that's him. Like, so the guy like me is just action, and I just like running all over the places. And then come Ray into the play, and he's like, hey, stop. Let's look at that way, and then we can. So that's kind of like what Ray really good at. He's really good in terms of structure, clarity on where to go, and then how to build sustainable system, because he built so many system in the past in businesses. He helped businesses scale. Amazing, like his knowledge in terms of in that, one could say, part. So he, in terms of value, so many, like the things that he come up with, structure and this and that, I was like, whoa, I didn't think of that. That's so cool. Now we go global. Wow. And then, so one day I would be like, go to maybe Africa or maybe India, and then open the Peduli school there, and then just teach, So I'll be just go and then spread the love and spread the cares, energy and all that stuff. But there's a system, because everything is a system of a system. Like my body is a system of a system of my heart, lungs, and all that. The airplane is a system of a system. So same with the Peduli. So we have the prototype, and Brother Ray come in and like, I like it. Let's create system around it.
And you mentioned Ryan. So if I don't find out about Ryan, then Ryan would say, Rob, why don't you ask about me too? So who's Ryan?
Whoa, Brother Ryan is the head of Bali Brotherhood here in Bali. He's influenced so many men here in Bali, helping them also again scale the business, and also mindset wise. When he's on the stage, like speak, that man moves you with his words, and like he's that man that I like aspire to and want to learn from. That's the man. And then also he has the heart to care about giving back, and then the fact that involved with Peduli and then want to be part of Peduli is just amazing, because Peduli is it attracts people, actually real people. Like we attract our vibe, right? It's like I realized Ray, Ryan, they just there real. Like I'm here. I'm going to make it, and create it with you. Let's do it. And those are the two powerful men that I'm really grateful to have in the team.
3 men, love it. Questions? So just raise your hand, and the mic will come to you. Let's see. There you go, Brother Zach.
Thank you, brother. Kia ora, Daddy.
Hey.
Thank you for that, my brother.
Brother Zach.
My question is around pride. You mentioned pride quite a lot, and in Māori, the translation for that, what we talked about the other day, is mana, an essence of knowing self, of who you are and where you come from. You have come from, you are in a position now, from where you started to now. I wanted to ask you if you are proud of yourself, and if so, what are you most proud of?
Thank you, Brother Zach. Thank you so very much. When people didn't believe in him, when his girlfriend just left him, when the whole world felt like against him, and he was just like wanna run and then hide in the corner. But then he would get up and then do one thing, and then keep going on that one thing. And this is the process. And that's the thing that when I look back, I'm really proud in that boy. Or, yeah, at that time he was still a boy. He just keep on showing up over and over. And even the people like, I love Australia so much. Like, if I'm anything today, it's because Australia. I went there, Perth. I lived for 7 years. I was domesticated in a beautiful way, in terms of education. And this is another thing. Like, that's what inspired me the most. Like, when I went in Perth, I was in the low of the low, and then there's a help call center link. I went through the system of that. I was like, okay, what's this thing? I was like, and then I got access from there, access to business, education. I got like coach, literally. I was like, how does it work? But I didn't pay anything. And I was like for there like three months and like 4 months in there. But I'm out of it right away. But and then that's inspired me to come back to Bali. And I was like, if that's what made a country move forward, because of that, a system helping, and that's why I want to give free for all education, 500 schools. It's free for all throughout, like all, so to go back to the question, is like that guy who's like gone through all the hardship, but then he's just showing up every day, in a cold Perth, sometimes cold Perth. If it's cold, it's really cold, bro. He would because the riding process, I was in a garage, man. Not in the freaking, I was in a garage. It's like freaking there, cold and all that stuff. But he was showing up. Thanks to him. I love him so much. And that led me to this point. So thanks to him. Thank you.
So just behind you, Zach. Yeah.
Thank you. To kind of follow up on what you just mentioned before, there are lots of people in the world trying to create companies like startups, or just like do whatever it is, like school, university. And what you said, that you consistently kept going, like that resilience of going on. Like, there are a lot of people out there who give up eventually because it's too hard. But everything that you mentioned, like how you made your book and how you went through your whole process, like what made you keep going? Like, what was the drive? If you could tell all those young people out there, or whatever it is, like how do you keep going in times where it's really tough?
Thank you so much for that question. Again, I go back to the acronyms now. So the 3 A's, I call it alignment, alignment, action, and abundance. So with the writing, although it's hard, but it's aligned with me. It's something within me that wants to come out. And so I feel like, okay, so sometimes you give up on the things that's not aligned with you. You start a business and you're like, the worst part is like you start a business because of the money. Because then it's not actually aligned with you, but the money is good. So now you create confusion between the two. But you get up on Monday, it's like a struggle, like, oh, because the whole thing is the money thing that's drives you. So yeah, money's good, okay, but it's not really aligned with who you are at the core. Who you are at the core is, let's say, you are a warrior and you want to get things done, and you want to go out and create change, but then it's like, oh, the money is actually good there, where you just at the receptions and then you condition your body like. But then the warrior want to express himself, but this is not aligned. You see? So it's like, find what's actually authentically aligned with who you are, and then take the action on that. And then action will bring the abundance. If you notice, or if you observe people that are so aligned with what they do, they are so wealthy. I observed this on the people that I really admire, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, I mean, these people, they're like very successful. And you soon realize when they are doing their thing, they're in flow state. Because they are so aligned, their mind, body, spirit, so aligned. So every action is like bang, bang, bang. It's like congruent. So I would say you give up on the things is because maybe it's not aligned with you, and maybe time to come to Bali and then do some retreat for reflection mode. Oh, let's find my true calling, Yeah. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, just next to you over here. Yeah. Yeah, just next to you over here. Yeah.
So my question is, when earlier we were speaking about how it's difficult for children to keep up with the technology, especially in schools. It's difficult for them to keep up with how quickly technology excels. But also on the flip side, you spoke about how you are very grateful that you wrote your books before AI, because you really had to then pour your heart out in your thoughts and the words that you were used. You had to go through that trial and error and learn through that. So my question is, what do you think, how much should AI be involved in the education of children?
Thank you. Wow, Albert, that's a really good question. So for me, when I look at AI, it's a thought partner. It's a thought partner. And I also you help the kids to understand that it's a really, really good thought partner. So in all days, if you have an idea, you'd go to your mom or your dad or your friend, like, hey mom, I have this idea, and then da. And mom, like, if she's tired, it's like, and then, but now you don't need that. You just go to your mom on ChatGPT and then ask, and then become the thought partner. So use it wisely in terms of, don't give the whole work to the AI, but use it to stimulate you. So how I use it is that I would do the hard work first, like the first draft, and I like, okay, and then I just put it on the ChatGPT, and then it cleans up, and then it clear my thoughts process. Oh, this is. So yes, embrace AI. Like, oh, ChatGPT is like that. I mean, a lot of my business deal that I've done is thanks to ChatGPT. I was like, make contract for this. Thank you. Sign. Make contract. Like the whole thing it's beautiful. But when it comes to creativity and critical thinking, because we teach English, proficiency, entrepreneurship, effective communication, social skills, and leadership. Those are the 5 things that we teach them. So the whole idea is that, okay, you also want to develop your social skills. You also want to develop your ability to think like a business owner. Use ChatGPT to deepen your thought, thinking, or process to understand how you think and all that. ChatGPT is really good at it. But ideally, don't dump all your just work for it and let it to think. And I go back to the proofreading stuff. Like the editor gave me the hard job, but in my mind was like, I just give it to him and he's doing all the work. It's like ChatGPT now, right? And then thanks. But no, he was like giving back to me, and then I went through and do all the corrections, and then I learned. So.
Great question. Now, there was part of the question that might be left unanswered, which is, so that's how you see ChatGPT, but for the kids going through the education system of Peduli, that might be left unanswered, which is, so that's how you see ChatGPT, but for the kids going through the education is used for the kids at school.
So when they come up with the idea or they don't know something, we use like prompt to ask the question and then all that, and then they would read. And then what I've realized is that, especially with English, you don't have to understand the meaning of the words, but you just have to read and then pronounce it over and over and over. And then when someone will say it, and you're like, oh, okay, now you have the power of association because you've already understand how to pronounce the word and how to say it. So with the kids, with the speech, we encourage them, okay, now they've got it from ChatGPT, and then now they practice it, embodied it. Right, they've got the speech about bravery or something like that, and then now they memorize it. Now that's where the power of association started to happen, because they now, even though they don't really fully understand the meaning of the words bravery, but because they say it, embodied it, they feel it in their body over and over, and they read it, or maybe someone say it, okay, that's click. So that's how you enlarge your vocabulary. So that's how actually we use on at school. So encourage them to ask questions, come up with the prompt. So we train them mostly on the prompt. Yeah.
Thank you. Second part to the question. So any other questions? Yes. So just behind you. Thank you.
Thank you. So you told us about scare. I feel like that's the main topic of today as well. And I was wondering, because you told the story about your brother, sadly, isn't care like something that can be in different forms? So my question is, I guess, how do you know what kind of care someone needs or something needs? Because maybe in the first few times he asked for money, you thought that was your way of caring for your brother, basically.
Thank you. So there are many forms for sure in terms of caring, and sometimes we cared, like in my brother's position is that he doesn't care about himself, his well-being, his health, his family, and then people like me come in and then care, but then half-hearted, one could say, after the 2 transfer that I did, and then I want to teach him. So and then that's what led down that route of, and ended his life and all that. So when I looked at it, it's like there are many forms, of course, when it comes to caring, but as a human being, and sometimes this is the things that I'm still practicing as well, like have this unconditional love also towards me and care about my well-being as well, my health, because okay, you can care so much about people, but also people is like the relation help me to help you. It's like the idea, like in my brother's position, is if he came up and say, Daddy, I need your help in this part, which is the mental health side. Okay, here, but let's talk about this. So usually he helped me to help him. So yeah, in my brother's position, that's if I look back, and this is where I need to be compassionate about myself, because I was, when it happened for 4 weeks, like ask my team, like I was just somewhere else. I was just punishing myself. I was so hard on myself. I was like, but I learned that we can provide the care and the help, but at the end of the day, also from that party needs to help us to help them.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Thanks for the question. So any other questions which are out there? All right, cool. So look, we'll begin to get close to wrapping up this episode. It's interesting that this is the first time I've actually seen the time. Right, as in normally we speak up, it's not the screen, right? So I've got no clue what the time is. I'm like, oh, okay, we're on time. Not that there is an on time. We go as long as we go. It's okay. So for those of you who's tuning in, so talking to Daddy Tien, founder of Peduli Learning Center, and we've been talking about 2.0 of the hundreds of schools that you are building, right? And we're also talking about quite deeply into what underpins the school, which is you, because the founder is the one whose energy, vitality, way of seeing the world, way of being, way of thinking, way of acting, ways of treating other people, right, kind of come through them into the organization, through the team and so on. And then again, as you mentioned, you've attracted two great partners, in Ryan and
Ray. Yeah.
the two R's. I was like, and I was looking for a triple R, but it's okay. Double RD. There you go. Right, which again couldn't be here tonight, and we're looking forward to having him again on a future episode. So maybe the last question for you, and I'll give you a minute or so to think about it, is is there anything else in kind of summing up that you'd like to talk about, that you'd like to introduce, and how is it that people can contribute to what you're doing? Where can they find you? As easy as your social media handle as well. So I'll give you a minute or so just to think about that. And so for those of you here, just want to thank everybody for showing up in person. It's been a rainy, all I've been hearing is just rain going on the outside. So just very appreciative of you who have showed up here in person, and remember to take the time to connect afterwards. So when you come a little bit earlier, we get a chance to hear where people are, right? Because oftentimes the person sitting behind you is the person that you really actually want to speak to, and they're actually the ones that can help take your business or something in your life forward. So it's really important that we get earlier and we can hear why people come, right? What are they about? And we're attracted to them for a different reason, but always a key important reason. So thanks again, Brother Guzman. Round of applause for our Brother Guzman. Yes! For yourselves, a round of applause. Thank you very much indeed. Right? And we'll do Daddy after he's spoken. And so look, this has been episode 491. 500 is coming up on November the 3rd or 5th from memory. I think it's 5th. And so we're going to be doing something for that, which haven't quite figured out what that looks like. But episode 500, I can't avoid the celebration. I have to do something. But we'll figure out what that looks like. Next week is going to be, we've spoken a little bit about AI tonight. So next week will be Sonigo, which is Oliver. Sonigo are a company, a use case using AI technology to increase business. So if you're interested in how AI can increase your business, make sure you come here next Monday. Now, also on the AI tip, we have the largest AI commerce or AI Revolution Summit. Let's get it right. And that's going to be taking place on the 16, 17, and 18 of September. That's called the Solution Digital Summit. They've been on the show earlier on, maybe 6 weeks ago or so. Great people from KL. Some of the best speakers in AI from around the world, basically giving you the latest tips, tricks, knowledge, apps to really excel in your AI journey. So that's again 16, 17, 18 of September, Nusa Dua Convention Center. And then, as I think I still have it here, yes I do, we have this one, which is the I Am Creation Summit, which I'm speaking at, and I'll be talking about the wisdom of Bali / Indonesia to the world, because the things which I've learned here from this incredible nation, incredible island, it needs to be broadcast, and a lot of it already is, but this is just a very powerful way to share. So that's what I'll be sharing, but there'll be 33 of world-class speakers from around the world, Michael Beckwith and a whole bunch of others that you've heard of before. So that will take place at the Meru in Sanur, and that's September again, 19, 20, and 21. So 19, 20, and 21. And finally, I'll be working with a group that are bringing out Stephen Bartlett. There's 2 shows that he'll be doing. One, which I'll be involved in, will be in early October. So if you're interested in listening to or coming to see Stephen Bartlett, he's done some incredible things. And there's also the guys who are bringing him out. are called the Genius Group. Roger Hamilton and some other great friends involved in that one. So if you want to know more about that, we're going to be doing a preview in 2 weeks' time about that one as well. So there's some really phenomenal people, summits, speakers, mentalities, information coming to Bali. And I see it all as an exchange for this Bali ecosystem that we're all part of and what we've been building and supporting for a while now. So it's great to see these events and great people coming here and exchanging knowledge with Bali. So finally, my brother Dedi Tien, my brother, again, you know, you continue to inspire and amaze not only me but many other people. And as I've said before, and I will say it again, you are a future president of Indonesia, my brother, in the waiting. And at some point, maybe I should have put $10 down now, right? You're going to say, but wasn't that guy, Rob, didn't he say that like back in 2023 when I started saying it? We're now 2025, but it's going to happen. You have all of the qualities necessary and the resilience to drive it through, and the clarity and the beauty, whose heart aligned for people to be very magnetized towards what you do and what you offer. And Peduli is an extension of you, which is a beautiful thing. So my brother, great to see you, my man, and we will leave the last minutes or so to you to answer that final question which I left.
Thank you so much, brother. That's the question that I ask the kid as well. I say, someone will become the next president of Indonesia. Why not you? It's like, why not you? Someone will become the best-selling author, New York best-selling author. Why not you? Just the reality of it. That good guy is the best-selling author, the president is like just human like us. They eat food, they breathe the same oxygen. Yeah, you just have to put the work in. So my last message would be, if you guys here about to start your own business or do something different, or want to create impact, is the idea of small action and do it consistently. The cure for self-doubt, because self-doubt never goes away. I've just realized that. Like, I thought like I go and meditate in Ubud, go away, and then when I come back and you're still there. I thought you've gone. Yeah, so the self-doubt never goes away. It's there, and then the cure for it is small action, but do it consistently, daily. Again, the whole thing of one word, one sentence, one paragraph, one page, one chapter, and then bang, you have one book. But you start with that one word. And then comes back to the life. In life is the care is the only thing that nourishes each other. If Brother Robert, doesn't really care about me, about the Peduli, then I wouldn't be here. But he cares. So therefore, the whole idea of caring for one another, caring for our community, caring for each other's future, caring for the environment, caring for the recycle bins and like sampah in Indonesia we call it, don't just throw randomly plastic everywhere and then you end up in the ocean. So we care about each other. And I just want to close with the idea of sharing about what you can do to get involved with Peduli Learning Center. Is that what I really love about Harpreet here. She's amazing. Like, she's consistently showing up. We talk about consistency, talking about small teeny tiny actions. She's like there Monday, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, she's there. She'd be like in my class, the one that I teach the kids entrepreneur, come up with the bag of chocolates, and then and then would give the kid a task, and then if they do it right, they will get the chocolate. That is care. That is the definition of Peduli. Is she just keeps showing up, no one asks, but she's just there. She's just there. Like, I was like, oh my god, she's so amazing. And share. So she shared her knowledge in terms of debate. we've never like taught the kids that, and then when you came with that, I was like, oh my god, that's critical thinking at its finest, because she taught the kids about the positive and negative in terms of ideas, and they have to fight the negative and then we teachers also like, this is good, we should try it, and she just gave it to me like she just like, oh yeah, this is time to get back to Kak Daddy. So share knowledge, and then I call it the 3 S's. Share knowledge, which is what Arp did. She came and then taught us about the power of debate, do it in the right way, right? And then share the knowledge, and then sponsor. So sponsor in this case where the founding become one of the founder. It's in terms of founders for the 2.0 and all that. You wanna sponsor the kids, sponsor Peduli, and last but not least, the other S, because 3 S's, right? Share. What's the second one, guys? Sponsor, thank you. And then last one is social media. Share us on social media. So it's called Peduli Learning Center. Go on Instagram and then share. Spread the words. And last, bro, is the quote. In the garden of life, caring is the soil that nourishes.
Thank you, my brother. See you next week, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming.